to each other. And, you know, the easiest way to do that, and this email works for everyone, it is transportationeac@dot.ca.gov. That's the email that you should be sending your ideas to as members. Other items for consideration and where to put these items, because the three committees that we landed on are safety. I'm going to say safety, which includes climate, complete streets, walkability, and disability. There's a third committee though, and it's coming. Sorry, there we go. Housing and infrastructure. So those are the three committees so far. Other items that we'll be thinking about when we're developing the scope is funding plans and application review, statewide plans, engagement and communications, and metrics, which is inclusive of our equity. Why am I messing up EQI? It's not, it's equity quality index? No. Thank you, equity index. So we've been working a lot toward the goals of our interagency relationships, or the developing relationships with the agencies and working toward the goals of making sure that we have input on their plans. Our next phase as an EAC is to figure out what we'd like to contribute to that. And as Commissioner Eager mentioned in her remarks, what is it that we want to say? Like, how do we want to make our mark on the transportation system in addition to the commenting on plans and being a part of the different stakeholder groups and meetings that we've been attending over the past year? So definitely our agendas are too long because we set time for this at the end of the meeting and we haven't gotten to it for 3 meetings, and I do my best with time management. So we're going to go back to the drawing board. I take the blame, and we'll go back to the drawing board and figure out what the right level of items is for this agenda so that when we get to the end next meeting, we will actually have a more drawn out discussion on from members on the priorities. And I know that member Torres Van Black mentioned there were 4 questions that we should have been discussing during the interagency discussion, and I missed it, so I apologize. Lots of stuff today, so and I'll do better next time. Any comments from the dais about subcommittees? All right, member reports and discussion for future meeting topics. We can go around right now and hear from every member about something that you'd like to see happen at a future meeting if you'd like, if you have something to share. Member or Vice Chair Ms. Kelly. Oh, turn on your mic, please.
I'd like to make a recommendation that I know you have it on the agenda, but for the sake of time, could we go ahead and email those recommendations to staff? I don't know if that's something that I can do, but I'd just like to make that suggestion.
You can absolutely email us, call us, however you want to communicate with us with those items. We can pull them together and come back to the meeting with a summary of what we heard from you all.
Sounds good. Public comment on subcommittees and member reports.
Walker, not seeing anyone wanting to make public comments on those 2 items.
Okay, so I'll wrap up by just saying, for folks who are in the public that have made it clear in past meetings that like y'all want to see, and it was even said today that you want to see more from the EAC, like note taken. We are going to take your thoughts and figure out how we can better represent. And I also want to applaud that we've gotten this far. The work of staff, Sequoia, Carolyn, Abby, who's not here, and I promised I would shout her out. I don't see the slide I asked for. No, I'm just kidding. But probably should develop that myself. Abigail Jackson, who is with Calsta, she's on a well-deserved vacation right now. I don't know if I'm able to say where she's going, but I know that she'll be leaving us for another opportunity, and we're very sad because she's done great work here. And it'll be in my report in a future meeting, because I don't know if I have permission to share it, but she'll be leaving us sometime next month in her role as, and I don't know her title, so please forgive me, but she's been working on a lot of initiatives because CalStat has like 7 people there, I thought. But she's also been supporting the equity initiatives of the Interagency Equity Advisory Committee, and we appreciate her support and work, and I'm definitely very thankful for her. As I am thankful for Sequoia and Carolyn as well, who are here. Give them a round of applause.
Not on vacation.
Not on vacation, right? Having to take all the notes and deal with all the requests. Also thanking Brandy and Justin and Doug, I'm sorry, clerks, Remedios and Hall. Laura, Alexis, Naila. I'm gonna make a list. It'll be in my notes for next time. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. So I want to turn it over to staff for since we're not hearing public comment on tabs 10 and 11. Those items are closed. Those are your last opportunities to speak at this meeting. Tab 12, closing and next steps. So I'm going to hand it over to Carolyn Abrams from Caltrans to give us our closeout so we can make that MetroLink train. Carolyn.
Thank you, Chair Walker. And thank you to all of the committee members and our colleagues for engaging in today's discussion. I know we talked about outcomes and deliverables, and we are at this mid-year point, so I think this is very timely. And I also want to extend my gratitude to our presenters who spoke on disability and accessibility in transportation. You shared a wealth of information about the tools and practices that we can employ in our efforts to make our state transportation system more inclusive and equitable for people with disabilities. And once again, a special acknowledgement to Vice Chair Armas-Kelly and Member Gonzalez for their powerful acknowledgement of Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Awareness Month, and to Chair Walker for recognizing Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So we heard a number of things from today's committee dialogue, which we've captured in great detail in our staff notes, as always. I will recap a few things briefly. So we have a few requests that are coming to the committee, which I think was really focused on in tab 6 as you were able to engage in a dialogue with our executives. First and foremost, the committee members have been requested to provide recommendations for CAPDI actions, and it sounds like this could be housed in a standalone subcommittee, or it could eventually be brought to the Safety and Climate Subcommittee. Committee members have also been asked to advise on the development of use cases for the Caltrans Equity Index, provide guidance to support the development of the Caltrans Community Engagement Guidelines, tools, and templates, and engage with Caltrans to understand our current system investment strategy and participate in future updates. And then finally, on the commission side, a request to participate in the review and evaluation process for the Active Transportation Program, Senate Bill 1 programs, and the State Highway Operations and Protection Program Guidelines update. And then a few requests that have been made by the committee. It sounded like there was a call to create a shared vision statement of transportation equity for this committee to guide their work. There's also been a request to develop a communications medium for both external or public updates for Caltrans, CalSTA, and CTC, such as a newsletter that shares updates on agency actions that relate to equity. I think in our conversation today, there were a lot of questions about those tangible outcomes that reflect the equity statements in action. And I think there's a lot of work that has been done since 2020, but it's apparent that not all of that work is well documented or known by folks outside of our agencies. And then finally, there was a request to have a space to debrief and reflect after committee members have participated in various engagement activities. And this recognition that the space doesn't quite exist yet, and it's important to have these places where we can talk about the activities, how they're going, the committee members' reactions, and then basically what they took away from it and how we could do better in the future. And then finally, just to reiterate, and I know Chair Walker, you already said this as well, but in terms of next steps to achieve a lot of this work, I think the mechanism for doing so will focus largely on the subcommittees that have been put in place. So just a reminder, that survey is still open to indicate your interest and availability to serve on one of the ad hoc subcommittees. We've currently received responses from 9 of the committee members, so if you haven't already, please take a few minutes to complete that survey. And if you do not have the capacity to serve on a subcommittee, we completely understand. Please also respond to that survey so that we can document that as well. And with that, I will turn it back to Chair Walker. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will just briefly add, I didn't want to go ad nauseum with the report, but I definitely highlighted about close to a dozen agencies that we should be thinking about when we're talking about interagency work: High-Speed Rail Authority, Strategic Growth Council. Actually, I don't even think I put this one in the list, but there's a Racial Equity Commission now for the state of California that's, I think, led up by OPR and SGC. I think it's important that if you could include those departments, because I think that, you know, there's varying levels of expertise with the bureaucracy here, but, you know, I think that that's what we're all saying, because, like, there are folks that are wondering why our land use, which isn't a state thing, but it could be if you look at our state laws. So anyway, so if you could incorporate that list, I'd appreciate it. I'd be remiss right now if I don't mention that I was going to skip class today anyway because I love a reception, but my campus was just shut down. I'm getting texts about violence happening at Irvine. I don't know what that means, but I just want to honor the comments that were said at the beginning of the meeting by folks that wanted to acknowledge the discord around the discourse around student voice and just voice in general. And I'm very thankful that we've found a way for our voices to be heard at this space, which, you know, there are varying, and there still may be varying, you know, understandings of, or agree, if we even agree that we're being heard right now. But I think that this is like the second campus I'm involved, or third campus I'm involved with, like that's had this kind of action in the last few months. And just to be thinking about folks who are in spaces like that, no matter what you think about the politics of what's going on, just to check on your friend or your neighbor. If there's no further comment from the dais, virtually or in person, the meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here.